Sing Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
God's name forever be praised amongst his people. Amen. Let us lift up our hearts and hands as we give thanks unto the Creator, remembering that he did feed us. Yes. The book of Deuteronomy states, when thou hast eaten and satisfied thyself, give thanks unto his holy name. Amen. Hallelujah.
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 We give thanks unto thee, O living and eternal King, once again, even for our lives at this very moment. Thanking you that you have spared us to even see this time of the day. We might, O Heavenly Father, be able to return in sound body and mind to even continue to offer thanks and praise unto thee. We give thanks unto thee, O Heavenly Father, for the food that thou didst allow us to partake. Yes. That we was able to sit down and be satisfied. And we give thee thanks and ask that thou will continue to show mercy unto us and continue to keep our tables full. Yes. That we might, O Heavenly Father, never go hungry. Yes. We give thee thanks, O great King of the universe, for the food of the Torah which thou hast given unto us. Yes. And we ask that thou will continue to impart it unto us, we may become full within it. Yes. That we may eat, Father, continuously and be nourished on thy word. We give thanks unto thee for this place, O Heavenly Father, that thou hast given, even in the state it may be, that thou hast given us somewhere to come to, yes, where like minds may sit together and even glorify thy name. We give thee thanks for all things and everything. Yes. And ask that thy spirit be upon all those that are represented here in this day, that thy word may continue, and thy people may grow in the knowledge of thee, yes, so that we may be better servants toward thee. Blessed be thy high, holy, exalted name, as we thy people acknowledge thy greatness by saying hallelujah. 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 Amen. Amen. Oh, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh. Hallelujah. We are going to ask ShomreyHatorah to come forward and lead us in the psalm service. The 79th, the 121st, the 124th, the 148th Psalm inclusive. We ask that you will read along with him so that we may give thanks to God even in the words of the Psalms. After that, which we will continue in the Torah portion so we may finish the portion of Kedoshim. We only have 20 verses to go within the chapter. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yah Elohim. Asher bara Hashemayim, where honor is Haman. Smatani Elohim. Iko Anoki Yom Hazeh, the King Anka. The Lakashah, the Kiti. The Gum King, Kohamalei, Mashiach. That's patiently. Is everyone here from outside? And is there a Shomrey on the door?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, the Most High, for this book, a book of inspiration. The Psalms have been around for a long time, and at one time, men used to just sing them, you know, and give praise unto Yah that way. But we found it a comfort nowadays in time, and the times we find ourselves in these lands of captivity, where we can look to the Psalms and feel somewhat comfort, and also feel that maybe our fathers were talking to us, leaving things on record that we may even feel, and even cause us to gravitate toward singing songs ourselves, making up our own songs, and reflecting about our present condition that we find ourselves in. The 79th Psalm, not a nice song, but a reality that our fathers face. O Elohim, the nations are coming to thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Yerushalayim into heaps. You can go on with the next one. Read. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be food unto the birds of the heavens, the flesh of thy saints unto the beasts of the earth. I will read one verse. I'm going to ask you to read the following verse. We have become a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and derision to them that are around about us. How long, O Yah, wilt thou be angry forever? How long will thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the nations that know thee not, and upon the kingdoms that call not upon thy name.
For they have devoured our clothes and laid waste his dwelling place.
Remember not against us the iniquities of our forefathers. Let thy tender mercy speedily come to meet us, for we are brought very low.
Help us, Elohim, our salvation, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us, and forgive our sins for thy name's sake.
Wherefore should the nations say, where is their power? Let the avenging of the blood of thy servant which is shed be made known among the nations in our sight.
Let the groaning of the prison restore thee, according to the greatness of thy love. Preserve those who are anointed to die.
and render unto our neighbors sevenfold into their bosoms their reproach, wherewith they are reproached still, God. So we that are thy people and the sheep of thy pasture will give thee thanks forever. We will show forth thy praise to all generations. Let's move on to the 121st Psalm. I will lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence shall my help come?
My help cometh from God, maker of the earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Oh, he that keepeth his right hand, neither slumbereth nor sleep.
God is thy keeper. God is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not strike thee by day, nor the moon by night.
God will keep thee from all evil. He will keep thy soul.
I shall go and coming in from this time forth and forever.
Amen. 124th Psalm. If it had not been Yah who was for us, let Yisrael now say.
If it had been God who was on our side, and rose up against us,
Then they had swallowed us up alive when their rod was kindled against us.
and the waters overwhelmed us, the stream went on our soul.
Then the proud waters had gone over our soul.
As you have not given us the bread to eat.
Also is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowler. The snare is broken, and we are escaped.
Amen.
Our help is the name of God, who made heaven and earth. Amen.
Amen.
Psalm 148. Praise Yah from the heavens, praise him in the heights.
Praise all the angels, praise all his hosts.
Praise ye him, sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light.
Praise him in the heavens, the waters above the heavens.
Let them praise the name of
Hallelujah.
God. He commanded, and they were created.
Yes, Lord, and wherever we cannot bread.
Praise Yah from the earth, ye sea monsters and all deeps.
Fire and hail, snow and vapor, stormy wind fulfill his word.
Mountains and all hills, fruitful trees and all cedar.
Beasts and all cattle, creeping things and moving grass.
Kings of the earth and all peoples, princes and all judges of the earth.
Oh, God, and created all women and children.
Let them praise the name of
Hallelujah.
God. His name alone is exalted. His glory is above the earth and the heavens.
And all the call to the people, praise his name.
Each of the children of Israel, a people near unto him.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We thank the elder for even leading us in the psalm service. Those words of inspiration left by our father Dali. We have one more chapter to go in the book of Vayikra. And we ask ourselves, we should ask certain questions. I think that people should be asking themselves. And like one of the questions is, as individuals, first we have to deal with individuality before we can deal with collective, being a collective being. And one of the things I think that every one of us has to do is find our niche and ask ourselves, what is our purpose? What are we here to do? Now we know first we have to deal with the relationship with the Creator. What does He expect of me? How do I deal with those expectations? When I can figure that out and I can get that down pat, then the rest of it, when I deal with my people, falls into play. Because if you live in the steps like the Most High asks us to be holy as He is holy, we'll be surprised how easy that the Torah is. It's not difficult. We make, I believe, the Torah difficult. Because instead of just accepting it for what it is, we want to find ways to circumvent things we don't like. And people might say, no, I think we all do, or we all have in our trials and tribulations. We come up to a law and we decide, well, that's crazy. I don't see why I can't do that. So we try to find ways to circumvent, to get around it. And when it sounds good, that's what we accept. You know, that sounds much better. Man, okay, for instance, thou shalt not boil, right? Bake, all these things on the Sabbath, right? How hard is that to understand? It's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it? Right? But we'll find all kinds of reasons. In this day and time, are you serious? Man, I gotta work till, I'll get up to 7. There's no way that I can get home and do all of that. Right? But the Torah didn't say on the 6th day shalt thou labor and do all thy work. It says 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. So that means the Torah didn't give you just 1 day to labor and get prepared. It gave you 6 days to prepare. So that means you got to get your stuff together. Now, if you burden yourself by waiting till the last minute, that burden's on you. Right? But the Torah itself is simplified. It gives you all these days to prepare and get your stuff together. If you don't do it, then that's on you. Even when we read these rest of these notes that God gave us in these laws, some of them we can relate to, some of them we can't relate to, because, for instance, the next one again tells us that deal with strangers, do not deal with this, giving your children to the seed of Molech, to the demons of the world. Now, we might look at that as an individual, but it's demons. It's a name that stands for demons, the evil. Don't give over your children to that evil. And we say, I would never do that, but you'd be surprised what we do without even thinking about what we do. What we involve ourselves in and involve our children in, without even thinking about where it's going to lead them later on in life. Like, for instance, now you might be into certain types of music, television, something out there, that for you as an adult, it's okay. You have the mental capacity to handle it. But if you allow your children to do it, because they're sitting on the bed watching it with you, but they don't have the mental capacity at that age to understand it or to be able to separate it, they get caught up in it. So you'd be surprised. So we'll start at Exodus, the 20th chapter. Leviticus, the 20th chapter in the first verse. And we'll get through this chapter. Because these are the rules and the exchanges that let us deal one with another, that allow us to be an upright society. See, this is what we're talking about. These laws concerning holy days, planting crops. This is basically telling us how we can be an upright society of people. What not to allow inside your fences and what to allow. And it says,
and the Most High spoke unto Moshe, saying, moreover, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death.
Now it says, whosoever he be of the children, or of the strangers that sojourn with you, because we have a habit of saying, I'm gonna stay out their business. You know, they don't follow Torah, so I'm gonna leave them be. Well, there's certain things that you can't allow to happen when there's strangers amongst you. There's just certain things that even though he's not what we call a proselyte or a convert, he still can't be allowed to do those things. Let's say he's of a foreign nation, right? But he's coming in to sell stuff. He's a merchant. It gets late. The weather's bad. he stays overnight. Right? Now, he's not a proselyte or a convert that's doing law like you are. He's just a foreigner waiting to go home in the morning. But during that evening season, it's his custom to do whatever he does, to make his sacrifices, to do whatever. Say he's hanging out and he tries to convince you to do that, or he has his little caravan of people with him. They say, God says, don't even let a stranger that's hanging out for a minute do these things. Don't even let him, even though he's not doing it, don't let him do that. This one, don't let him do it. Now, he's doing his little something else here in the corner, you know, and he's got his hand over his head, and you don't know what he's doing. Leave him alone. But certain things they can't be allowed to do, because certain things have a tendency to rub off more than others do. We tend to take hold to some things more than others do, especially when it relieves us of responsibility, or it makes our lives, so we think, easier. Right. You understand? Well, if I do this, I won't have this to do. If I give you this, I won't have this to do. So we have to be careful, even a stranger. And it says, not only, it says, and he who does that shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Now, is it actually the people of the land? Because are all the Israelites going to come? There's over 1 million people, right? So all the Israelites are not coming out to stone with stones. But you had some kind of delegation set up, a judgment, like the Sanhedrin was later on. That council would be the one to pass judgment and stone them with stones. Everybody ain't come out. Now, if you was a witness, if you was there, because you have to do what? Torah says, rid yourself of the evil. And especially don't let a foreigner come and practice evil within your midst. How do we practice that here? Now, we might have different variations or might see the Torah because of our background and teachings in a little different manner. And I thank the Creator that the family here, we don't vary that much, right? But do we let an outsider come in? I don't care if he says he's a Hebrew from the day he was born. Do we let someone come in who we don't know and begin to tell us opposite of what the Torah says? No. Just because he said, I'm Hebrew too. I can break it down, right? Because if he's teaching opposite of what the law says, I don't care what his name is. I don't care who his father was, how many bars he has on his chest. He has to go. You don't allow that in your midst, because guess what? He can sound so smooth and intelligent, and guess what will happen? 3 or 4 people will be questioning when he goes outside. Brother, tell me how you found that out. And the next thing you know, they be all off track, going down a road that they shouldn't be going down. Verse 3 says, and I will set
my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Molech, to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do at all hide their eyes from that man, when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and put him not to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go astray after him, to go astray after Molech from among their people.
It says, and if the people of the land do at all hide their eyes. That's simple, right? What does it mean to hide your eyes? It means you act like you didn't see nothing, right? I didn't see him do that. Why would you do that? Ask yourself, why would a person who sees that crime being committed not say anything? Now, today you can say, man, they the Bloods, man. And I'm scared of the Bloods. I don't want the Bloods attacking me. But there was no Bloods and Crips. My answer is that you wasn't fearful. You was almost on the verge of doing the same thing. You're agreeing with exactly what he's doing. You're about to follow, if you haven't already started, in the same path as that wicked person. So you're going to close your eyes down. Torah says, and if the people of the land do it all hide their eyes from that man, I will set my face against that man and against his family and will cut him off. Who's his family? Is it just his wife, son, mother, and daughter? It's anyone that was doing the same thing he was doing. The family, just like we call ourselves a family, the family that was doing the same thing. He said, I will get to that whole family. I will cut them off and all that go astray after him from among their people. Verse 6 says,
and the soul that turneth unto the ghost and unto the familiar spirits, and to go astray after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and be ye holy, for I am Yah your Elohim, and keep ye my statutes, and do them. I am Yah who sanctify you. For whatsoever man there be that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He hath cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him.
Now, verse 6 says, and the soul that turneth unto ghosts and unto familiar spirits to go astray after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from amongst his people. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and be holy, for I your Elohim am holy. Notice, we didn't have to do anything to that person. Everything else, we're stoning somebody, we're hanging somebody, you notice that? We're putting people on fire. What do we do to this person?
Nothing.
God is chastising that person. The punishment is coming from him. God said, that was right, I'll take care of those people. I'll take care of that. Because it's a crime that's really hard to see if they keep it hidden within their doors. I'll take care of those people, because you can search for ghosts for me and never open your mouth. You can do it within your mind and never open your mouth, and no one will know what you're doing. Prayer said that person, I'll cut them off. Then the next one says, for whatsoever man there be that curses his mother or father shall surely be put to death. He has cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him. Now, we kind of look at that and say, man, that's crazy. Who would curse their mother or father? But I see it all the time. Especially nowadays, you see it all the time. You ever been in the store, in the mall, on a bus, or anywhere on a train, and you have children talk to their parents? It's just totally outrageous. Not only that, I guess we all come up in different eras, right? When I came up, you respected your neighbors, you know, the man and the woman next door, down the street. But even inside your house, if you had an aunt, you called the aunt so-and-so. You never called her by name. You know? And I'm noticing that we're getting to a point where we're not even honoring our elders in that sense. We're letting our children dictate how they want to do it. Well, you know, these children got minds in their home. They're not supposed to. In the sense that they are supposed to be guided by your mind. Your mind guides your child's mind. Pray that yours is right, but yours guides his mind. Until he is of age to guide his own self, you guide his mind. That's why it seems kind of strange, because when we follow society, society says, this is okay. That's okay. How old does society say that a child can be to make their own decisions? Now it's not 18. People used to say you need to be 18. Now a child be 14, 15. Girls are allowed to put on makeup, dress in high heel shoes, do all the stuff that they want to do, because they say, well, you know, they're not kids anymore. They have to be guided by your mind. Because what do they know? Except what they live on TV, see on the radio, or hear their friends talk about. So we have to guide. And the Torah says, he that curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death, because he has cursed his father or his mother. His blood shall be upon who? Himself. He's going to bear responsibility for that. Cursing. Are we just saying there's all ways to curse your parents? Not just by calling them the M-O like we think it. Right? But he bears his own iniquity. And Because the Torah, first of all, told you, honor your father and your mother that your days may be long. But we also have studied and realized that that father and that mother to that child is just like us. They take that, they stand in that same state. That's Elohim to you at that age, because everything you say do, they're supposed to follow, whether they like it or not. You might not like it, but you better go ahead and do it. We'll talk about it. And now it's that, well, can we talk about it? How does a parent ask a child, can we talk about it? I want you to go do something. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm sick of, well, can we at least sit down and talk about it before we just get irrational? What kind of parent is that? What? Who's the parent? Now you have to ask yourself, who's the parent? I saw a lady, and it was on one of these shows, and the child began to rule the home. And she wanted to know, she's reaching out, asking the talk show host, what can I do? Because someone told her, if your parents hit you, call 911. You mean they can't hit me? What if they want to put me in the punishment? Go to your room. No. I said, go to your room. No. Did you hear what I said? Go to no. You go to grab them, get your hand up. I'll call 911. Now what you gotta do is you just say, go ahead. I know you don't. Now yes, don't you have the right to voice, say what I none. No. Out there, liberty has to be limited and very limited. Well, the Torah says, curses, his blood shall be upon. Where does it say that there's witnesses? Well, the next one says, verse 10, a man that does what? That committed adultery
with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lieth with his father's wife, he hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death.
So we're back up in verse 10, says, the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife. First it starts out and says, and the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, right? Should have been plain and simple. We understand that. It says, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife. Why the expression? Why the double expression almost? Because it shows how heinous the act was. Not only did you lie with another man's wife, you were so ungodly that you lied with the man that's looking right next door in your window. See, that's how we began. It started off with, I'll sneak off and go sleep with me and her fell in love. She lives over the other side of town. Now we moved on to the point where we're sleeping with the man's wife right next door while he's at work. Our moral value, God is telling us by giving us these laws, the future pattern of Israel. He's giving you your pattern, that your moral level, your moral level will begin to decrease. You'll start out one way with just committing adultery, Next, you move to your neighbor's wife. It'll get closer and closer to home. The respect level will begin to decrease more and more. Well, it says, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Nobody lives. Nobody lives. There is no excuse. The Torah does, and this is one thing that I wanted you to understand too. The Torah does not give you excuses to violate the law. You know when it says, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy? Nothing in there says, unless such and such happens. Y'all ever notice that? You don't have to keep the Sabbath holy. Oh, well, unless this happens. If you lie with another man's wife, it's okay if it's done this way. There is no leeway to violate Torah. It's shut and open. Open and shut. Case closed. It doesn't give you the right to find a loophole. I don't like this law. Well, what does it mean to keep the Sabbath, we ask ourselves? Well, it says it's a day of rest, and I'm supposed to not work. So I'll get my family in the car, and we'll get the rafts, and we'll get the beach wear, and we'll go out to the beach and do some whitewater rafting. Because that's what relaxes me. And I'm not working. I don't consider it work. So these are the rationales that we come up with when we know it's not right. When you sit back in your own mind, you're like, yep, this is my Sabbath. You're just telling yourself that because you know better. So we can't begin to rationalize and make the Torah live just for me. The Torah wasn't made for individuals. It was made for a people. And everybody has to understand what the law is because it works for everybody. Some people say, well, this law don't work for me. It does work for me. It does. It has to work for everybody. That's why the man who commits adultery, it doesn't say if he's a priest amongst you, he shall go free. It doesn't say if, because everything happens. Things are done. God handles it in the way that he must handle it. Right? Because what did David do? What did the king do? The king saw a beautiful woman and decided he had to have her, didn't he? So what is his rationale? Oh, did he not know the law? He know it better than you and I, didn't he? Because he was commanded to do what? Write it. Write it. Right. So he knew exactly what he was doing. So how did he rationalize this? If he's dead, she's free. Now, David was a righteous man because when God chose him, he chose him for his righteousness. Something happened along the way that would take him to the level not only that he would violate the law and commit adultery, but that he would take and shed innocent blood to have his way. You understand? That's the thought of a vile, wicked man, right? But it shows us that every one of us is susceptible to that evil. Right? Doesn't mean you're going to stay that way, but we're susceptible to that evil. David went way off. Nathan the prophet came and said, what if a man had and said, was taken violently away? What? Who would go and take a poor man's stuff? Let that man be killed. He said, I guess you're going to die, my Lord. David said, what are you saying? Because you went and took that man. You're the king, and that man just a little man under you. You violently took his thing away from him. David said, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. And what's the first thing he did? He went and besought the Lord. Because he knew that his only salvation. Was he worried about the prophet drawing his sword? Was he worried about the guards or the priests coming to get him? He wasn't worried about dying death by the hand of a man. He was worried about being enslaved by the creator of heaven and earth. Nowadays, and what does that mean? That David, the fear of Elohim, as we read today, the fear of Elohim did what? It came back to David. We today do what we do because we don't fear God.
That's right.
How many people feel they fear God? Hands go up, right? Hands go up a little bit. See, half a hand, high hand, right? But when we realistically think about it, if we feared God in totality, your sins would be very few. Right? We would walk in a more righteous fashion. But we figure if I commit a sin, who sees? Who sees me? Right? But we know and understand that the Almighty sees us. Did I get punished today?
No.
Let me look at myself. I still got 2 feet. I woke up, still can see. Yes, yes. Did I get punished? Great day in the morning. It's another day. Who got away? And what happens when you think you got away with a crime? You'll try to commit the crime again, won't you? It makes it, I'm going to go do that again. Woo-hoo! They didn't catch me at that bank robbery. Ah! They didn't catch me doing this. I'm going to go do it again. Cops didn't catch me slinging dope. I'm going to go do it again. We have to be careful. The next verse, now we talked about, let's go back. Now the next verse is verse 11, right? Okay. Now before we read verse 11, we're going to go back. I told you before that chapter, now you don't have to turn to it, you stay where you're at in Leviticus 20, verse 11, right? Stay where you're at. Now I'm going to go back to Leviticus chapter 18, verse 7. And I'm going to read it, and then you're going to read verse 11, okay? All right, we're listening? 18 and 7 says, the nakedness of thy father and the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Go ahead and read verse 11 in chapter 20.
And the man that lieth with his father's wife, he hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death.
You see where it corresponds? It shows you an explanation, doesn't it? So when you thought that just looking at your naked parents was the law, now you see in verse 11 it says, and the man that lieth with his father's wife, you have uncovered your father's nakedness. So it goes beyond just looking at a naked body because you put the door open and saw him standing out the shower, doesn't it? See, and for so many years, people said, no, that's not what it says. It says if I see my father's nakedness. There is a ritual called Tahara that when a person dies, it's the cleansing of the body, right? Now, it is honorable, we are taught, that a man would do that, a son would especially do that for his father, right? And a daughter for her mother. Somebody told me, well, you violated the law if you look at your father's nakedness. I'm like, okay, let's go back now because it says, you've uncovered his neck. I said, look, I didn't lie with my mother. That's what the Torah told me. The Torah told me that if a man, that is uncovering his nakedness. We have to begin to put things in where they rightfully belong. This law deals with immorality in sexual relations, which will bring a society to its knees. So now that we see that, the rest of these things are going to go and tell you the same thing that we did before. If a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. If a man lie with mankind as with womankind, both of them have committed abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon who? Themselves. See, there's certain things that we can blame the congregation for, Then there's certain things that are just my independent thought. Took me to that level. Blame the person. Verse 14 says, if a man take with his wife also a mother, and then we read that earlier. But now it just goes a little further to show you the extent of this illicit act. If a man take with his wife also her mother, it is what? Wickedness. And what do you have to do? What does the Torah say you do with wickedness? Get it out of your midst. Otherwise, it'll engulf you, right? And they shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness amongst you. Why do we burn them with fire? Why not just stone them? Why not just hit them upside the head with a rock till they die? Why not shoot them with an arrow? Why do we have to burn them? So that there's no memory of them by body. There's no visiting, no grave. They go back to, there's nothing. You know how people go to a grave to visit a body? Or you can put it in a tomb and look through a glass and look at it. That's disgusting. But these are so you can memorialize a body and a person. The Torah says this shall be consumed with fire. What does fire do? It consumes whatever's in its path, doesn't it? It disintegrates. When he said, get that evil out of the midst of you, that evil was coming up out of the midst of you. We don't even want memory of them. We don't even want a burial site for them. They don't even deserve that. So in the beginning, it just tells you, don't lie with this one, 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 don't lie with this one. Then we see the depth of what lying with two brings about, the different stages. Let's skip up and go back up to verse 12. If a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought corruption. Their blood is upon them. It's different degrees of immorality. Now it says their corruption they have brought to themselves. They have brought corruption amongst the people. They shall, how are they going to be put to death? Well, we know there's beheading, stoning, strangling. These are the things that the Most High prescribed as ways of killing people and committing, putting somebody to death, whatever way the court says so. Verse 15 says what?
And if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and he shall slay the beast.
We talked about that same thing. It says man should not lie with the beast, right? Now it says if a man lies with the beast, he has to die. And guess who else dies? The animal dies. Then you say, well, hold on now. The animal didn't approach the man approached the animal. Because God has given man the ability of free will. That animal doesn't have free will, right? The man approached the animal. Now the animal is going to succumb to its natural bodily functions, right? He's not differentiating what he's doing. It's just there. Now why does the animal have to die? Because guess what? Now you have disrupted a perfect creation, and now you have disrupted it. You know, we don't know now what that beast is going to do because you've corrupted it. He might now look for humans. No, I'm saying he'll look for you. You ever hear people say that dogs are big one and we rub it on the man leg? Now you know that's his master. It ain't a dog. But who knows what's in that beast's mind? You corrupted the mind of the beast. The beast has to die. Why does the beast have to die? Same way you corrupt another male or female, he corrupts another beast. That's wickedness amongst the animal kingdom. It has to go too. We have to realize that what we do sometimes goes and takes a rolling effect and affects other things. Torah says, man, you can affect the animal kingdom by your actions. All the way down to the animals. Verse 16 says,
and if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
So it's not just the woman, it's men. These are these things that we learn and we pick up from people. Don't ask them. Why would, if somebody say, well, why would Israelites get into that? I don't know. We're subject to anything. You hang around people long enough, we tend to do the silly things that people do. Why would somebody go to somebody's house and spray paint somebody's house? Why did that boy get caught up in rioting and throwing rocks at the cops? Because his friend was doing it, right? You get caught up in the element that you're around. So remember that. You let a bunch of kids just roam around freely and say, oh yeah, go be with your friends. You need to be with people your age. When they start doing something, very rarely does a child say, no, I'm not going to do that. I know better. He doesn't want to feel out of place, so he goes and runs with the crowd. The next you know, the phone is ringing. Hello, can I speak to so-and-so? We have your son down here in the Sunset Precinct. His bond is like $17,000. What did he do? Oh, he did so-and-so. And your first thought is, well, guess he'll sit there. That'll teach him a lesson. And usually that mother goes, we can't leave my baby down there. He's a good child. But this is what happens. Corruption spreads like a disease. The next verse talks about a woman doing the same thing. It says that she approaches that beast to lie down with that beast. I don't know what she was missing at home. Sick society. That's all I can say. It's a sick society.
Like that before it. I guess she lays there and a beast.
A beast doesn't differentiate. If you put, I'm not going to go into it, but you know what I'm saying. A beast is just following his natural way that God gave him. Hey, I do this is what I'm supposed to do. It's the same in some kind of way, but the thing is, why would that woman approach a beast? Really? Really? And we say, we trip when we see women going with women and men going with men. It's talking about humans and beasts. You know who was good for that and who tried to create elements of it? Look at Greek mythology. Do you know that Greek mythology shows men and horses? A horse body and a man. How do you get that? Half man. How do you get that? You have to crossbreed. You have to take the seed of a horse and the seed of a man and hope what comes out. But that was their thought. Now, if I'm drawing photos like that or making characters like that, somewhere in the back of my mind, I want to see that exist. I'm sure it's been experimented and it's still being experimented with. I'm sure we're mixing animal and man to try to create these great things of intelligence. Like, well, think about it. Here's a gorilla. They're very strong, right? They're very strong, they're intelligent. But if I can now just find some way to get that human side of them, I'd have a future that'd be unstoppable. And I'm sure somebody somewhere is working with this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what they pay people for. They pay people big dollars they call them mad scientists. That's what they used to call them in the comic books, to come up with this stuff. This is what we're dealing with. The next verse says, verse 17.
And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness.
Now that means that I don't ever want to hear an Israelite telling me she's not my sister because we don't have the same both parents. The Torah says it can be your father's daughter or your mother's daughter. So guess what the Torah is saying? To us, we didn't recognize half sisters. David's children was all his children. When his son went into his daughter, oh, he had to pay for the price. But that's still your sister. Right? Go ahead.
And see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness. It is a shameful thing, and they shall be cut off in the sight of the children of their people. He hath uncovered his sister's nakedness, he shall bear his iniquity. Verse 18. And if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness, and shall uncover her nakedness, he hath made naked her fountain, and she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood. Both of them shall be cut off from among their people.
So he's not dying, right? He's not stoned with stones. because that is his wife, right? The act that they committed is not illicit in that sense, because it's natural, but it's the time period that it was committed in, right? So God said that you went and did this when she was going through a period of purification. Now, illicit, what was the biggest crime here? Because you stepped into her fountain of purification. You violated that. You stepped in and interrupted that. That's between her and God now. That's why it says that she is to be what? Separated. That word, that root word in the word nidah, to separate, set aside. Because that time is between her and God. That's that process that she's doing. See, today, we don't have the facility or means. But in ancient days, that woman was off to herself. Or women like her. Because they're all doing the same thing. It's more than just a physical. This goes into the spiritual realm. Where now you step into what God has set up. Because every month she renews that spirit within her, because like I told you before, she is the closest thing next to God when it comes to bringing forth life into this world. So she has to have that space. So do you perish? No, God said, I should just cut them off because they know better. Now, sometimes you might be rather die to be cut off. Because when you're cut off, you're cut off. You have no protection. Nothing. You're gone from your people. Just like when he told Cain, step away, be a vagabond and a wanderer. Take away everything from you. So we have to be careful. So do not feel that, well, that's my wife and I can do anything that I want to do. Next one, it talks about the nakedness of thy mother's what? Sister. Who is your mother's sister? But your auntie. Your aunt. Oh, that's just my auntie, brother. Oh. No, that's the sister of your father or of your mother. That bloodline is just like me and you. Be careful. Don't get caught up for society. Oh, brother, don't worry about that. No, last time you seen that family. Last time you see your auntie. And sometimes your aunties can be younger, older, you know, depending on. I said, man, dude, that's your uncle? He was like, yeah, man, that's my uncle. He's younger than me. So it depends on where you're at, who is oldest, how many, you know. So we don't want to get in there. Verse 20 says, if a man lies with his who?
His uncle's wife. He had uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless.
Now, here's another one where the condition, the sentence is different. Here's your uncle, bloodline, right? He marries a woman. She's from anywhere, right? That's no relation to you in that sense, blood-wise, but morally, you can't touch her. And if you do, God said, they shall bear and they shall die childless. You don't deserve to bring children into this world. I'll let you live, but you never bring another child that you can teach that wickedness to. Or that'll gain that wickedness through genetics, as they say. No. Die childless. So we read the law before, uncover, do not uncover. Now we see that the violation of these things bring forth some punishment. Because for every action there's a what? Reaction, right? So nothing just happens haphazardly. If you do something, something's going to come behind it. If I turn the key, the ignition's going to start. If I put the car in gear, it's going to move. If I step the brake, it's going to stop. Right? If I go up and down, tail bearing and gossiping among my people, something negative is going to follow. I promise you. So, if a man shall take, verse 21, his who?
His brother's wife. It is impurity.
Impurity. Now, we talked about that the other week when we did isrealite. There's purity and impurity. And that woman goes to a time of purification, right? It said this is impurity. She's whoever. You met her, your brother married, that becomes your sister-in-law, right? Go ahead. He has uncovered his brother's neck. What happens? What's their punishment?
They shall be childless.
They shall be childless. And you say, oh, well, no problem. Cool. How many, I don't know, but well, let me not pose the question, but I know when I was growing up, when I was first getting into manhood, I wasn't looking, like, I'm gonna have a bunch, no. But my children came. I was thankful. I had 2 twins first, 2 twin boys, but they perished. They didn't last. Then I had a daughter. I'm like, man, I need a boy, man. I mean, it's this desire for a man, right? To have a son to follow his name, to bear his name. Now, imagine you not only can't have a son, you can't have no children. Imagine a woman. I'm not a woman, but I've been told by women, counseled women and talked to women, and I've been told by women that have not been able to have children, that it takes something away from them. It takes a part of them away. They don't feel complete and whole. That's what so imagine that punishment. Imagine that going through life, watching everybody else's children and you can't have them. Isn't that what Abraham's wife did? She sat around, watched everybody's children, right? Leah and Raquel sat around, watched all Leah popping out these babies. Made her feel some kind of way, didn't it? Made her feel some kind of way. So just imagine to have to go around childless. And how do we feel in the village? What's the rule, and not only in this village, what's the rule for a village? How many people does it take to raise a child? A whole village, doesn't it? Now you still got to be part of that village. Seeing all these children. And we have a habit of putting out a lot of children. We're fruitful. Well, let me put it like this. Let me reverse that, elder. We can multiply. We got to work on being fruitful.
Yeah, true.
We got to work on being fruitful, but we can multiply.
Yes, we can.
So the Torah tells us they shall remain childless. And that's a punishment. To have to live around people and that there's no possible chance of you ever being fulfilled in that respect. That completion of your womanhood will never take place. Or that man will die and his family name will perish.
Ken, I just want to mention real quick, the scripture talks about that in Proverbs 30.
Proverbs 30. Let's let ShomreyHatorah read it for us. You don't have to turn to it, but he'll read it. I'm sure you can.
It says, I'll start 14. It says, there's a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, the needy from among men. The horse latchet has 2 daughters, crying, give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied. Yet 4 things shall say not, it is enough. The grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that says it is not enough. So just mentions there that the barren womb, a woman that doesn't have children, this is always warning.
So this is letting us know that even through Solomon, he lets you know that a woman is not complete. It's an incompletion, and we never want that to happen. And we see what it does. History shows our mothers that, man, they suffered. They started giving them their handmaids. Please, I'll call this child my own. Surrogate mothers, that's what they were. That's how they began, as surrogates. I bear this child for me. Upon my knees, this child shall be born. Even though it's yours, coming out of you, it shall be mine. Now, the next verse, 22, is basically telling you, don't do this, because this is what's going to be good for you. I've given you all these rules. And if you follow these rules, good things will happen. If you don't, so let's start at verse 22. It says, you shall therefore
keep all my statutes and all my ordinances, and do them, that the land whither I bring you to dwell therein vomit you not out. And ye shall not walk in the customs of the nation, which I am casting out before you. For they did all these things, and therefore I abhorred them.
It says that you shall not, let's start again, you shall therefore keep all of my statutes. That's where we make our first mistake. We don't understand that word all. We like to use the word some or a few. That's how we circumvent the Torah in our own mind. We don't want to do all. We want to do some or few. But God's commanded that we keep all of his statutes. How can you keep them if you don't know them? Can anybody answer, how are you able to keep the statutes, ordinances, and commandments of Elohim if you don't know them? Isn't it a possible task? It's impossible. You have to study Torah to know what they are. See, because now you say, well, God, you can't blame me. I didn't even know that one. But you're supposed to know. Got to study them to know them, right? He says, keep my statutes and do them, that what? The land whither I bring you to dwell therein, vomit you not out. Land can vomit like a human, but God's talking to you in a way you'll understand. When you eat something that does not agree with you, what did you do? You vomit it back up, it comes back up. Well, God said that if you are wicked, the land will not agree with you, and she will vomit you out. And didn't it happen? It vomited, it spewed, so I didn't know somebody could vomit that far. And she vomited from Israel all the way to North America. Spewed us all over the world. That was a long trip we was on. It says, and you shall not customs of the nation. Actually, this Hebrew says, Kukot HaGoy. Goy be a nation. You shall not walk in the customs or in the ways of the nations that are round about you. Now, which I am casting out before you, for they did all these things, and therefore I abhorred them, and he spit them out from the land. Let's understand something. There's a difference in becoming part and letting yourself be ingested and becoming part of the people and doing their things, and being an Israelite living amongst the people. There's a difference. What we have to understand that it is possible for you to do the laws of God and survive in America. You've been doing it. God wouldn't have made it any other way. He's perfect in all his ways. Amen. And loving in all his works. Amen. Right? So when he sat you here, he didn't say go there and just forget everything I taught you. He made it possible that you can live by his laws in this land. Now, because I get people to say, well, can't do anything. Basically, you know, as long as I'm in America, can't become part of this and that, this and that. Use your common sense. The Creator gave you a mind, and you know right from wrong. You got to live, don't you? You got to survive. True? True. Do you rather survive, barely surviving, or do you rather survive when you can say, ooh, I'm at peace when I walk through the door?
Okay, that's what you want.
Do you want to always walk in praying? Hope the lights are not, hope the lights are not off. Hope the lights are not off. When you turn on the faucet, hope the water's paid. Hope the water's paid. Is that how you want to live every day? No, you want to go inside, touch the mezuzah as you walk in the door, give thanks to the Creator, and say, I'm inside, blessed be Yah, I'm safe. Baby, can you open the refrigerator? Let's get us something to eat. Because you know that there's what in the refrigerator? Ooh. Ooh. Right, you know it's already there. That's how you want to live. That's how the Creator wants you to live. But you can do that and still know the Creator and do his laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. It's possible. It's not an impossible task. And I don't want us to feel because we're in America that we take things out of context. Learn not the ways of the nations. Do not follow after the ways of the nations. Yes, Torah says that. But you have to be realistic. I'm here in America. I need to have a bank account so I can move and make my bid, pay my transaction, right? So what I'm gonna do, not have a bank account? That's the ways of the nation. When did Moses drive a car? Is that the way of the nation? Guess I'll give that up too. Am I not gonna live in a house the way they have it because we didn't have those type of houses? Am I not gonna watch television because we didn't have television? That's the way of the nation. Nation dependent on television. We have to be rational and reasonable and know that the Torah is not telling you to separate yourself, be ye holy for I am holy. Yes, walk in God's stead and know that it can be done right here in America.
Yeah.
Joseph did it in Egypt.
Yes, he did.
Daniel did it in the land of Babylon. So it can be done here in America by you and I. Let's not let the Torah take us out. See, that's what we do. We tend to go all the way to the extreme left, all the way to the extreme right. We can't seem to find that median in the middle, right? Some Israelites told me Israelites are supposed to be poor because a poor Israelite has a better relationship with the Creator. How many people believe that statement? How many people believe the statement that a poor Israelite has a better relationship? How many people believe that a rich Israelite has a better relationship? Right? Well, sometimes you learn things, and the sages teach us, and this just comes out of the Shulchan Aruch, the set table. It says, he who is wealthy beyond wealth, wealthy, right? Loses his relationship with the Holy One because he's concentrating on his money and how to make more of it, right? The man who is poor and destitute, he has lost his relationship with Elohim because he is so worried about where he's going to sleep, how he's going to eat. He doesn't have time for the Creator. But he who sits in the middle, who is comfortable in his life, every time he turns around, he's thanking God because he has plenty of time to do so. Because everything is where it needs to be. Got to find that meaning. Well, it says, and you shall not walk in the custom of the nation, which I have cast thee out, for they did all these things, and therefore I have abhorred them. But I have said unto you, you shall inherit whose land?
Their land.
Their land. Go ahead.
And I will give it unto you to possess it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am Yah, your Elohim, who have set you apart from the people.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
He said that I will give you that land because the land vomited them out because they didn't respect it. They didn't respect it, so the land vomited them out. They didn't want to listen. I kicked them out, and I give it to you. Now, what are we going to do with it? I give it to you to possess it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am Yah, your Elohim, who have set you what? Apart from the people. So when you go to work, who are you? You are who? You are Israel. When you go to a party, who are you? You're Israel at the party. When you go to see the President of the United States of America, you are Israel in the President's house. Everywhere you go, you got to represent who you are. Because the Creator has set you apart from all peoples on the face of the earth. Amen. That's when he said, be ye holy, for I am holy. Walk in my way. Walk in my way. Wherever you go, people that represent your set or whatever they say, walking around with colors, the blood, that's what you represent God. That's what you do. Everywhere you go, you represent. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid what people call you or how they think about you. Because guess what? The blessings don't come from them. Mercy is not through their hand. Right? So it says in verse 25,
Ye shall therefore separate between the clean beast and the unclean, and between the unclean fowl and the clean. And ye shall not make your souls detestable by beast or by fowl or by anything wherewith the ground teemeth, which I have set apart for you to hold unclean.
Now these are the little things that we read by and we don't pay attention to. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. So we pay attention to, I didn't sleep with my mother. I know this law. But these are the little exhortations that are here. Verse 25 says, you shall therefore do what? Separate between the clean beasts. Now, why are we talking about Leviticus 23? It's coming up, isn't it? Why are we talking about Leviticus 11 when we talked about the beasts? We talked about that. What does this have to do with what we're talking about? Because it says that we don't pay attention. You shall therefore separate the clean beasts and the unclean, between the unclean fowl and the clean. You shall not make your souls what? Detestable by these beasts. When you ingest the unclean, what does that make you?
Unclean.
Unclean. Not only does it affect your flesh, it affects your spirit. Don't take it in. Don't, because it tears at your whole thing. It doesn't just affect one part, it affects all the parts. That's why the Torah is so explicit as what you take inside your body. Don't eat that which dieth of itself. Don't eat that which is torn of beast. Says, do not make yourself detestable by beast or by fowl, or by anything wherewith the ground produces, which I have set apart for you to hold unclean. That means the fruits, vegetables, and everything that he produces for you, make sure we're doing the right thing. We might have to make a sacrifice, people. You might have to spend a little more change. Let's be honest. You might have to spend a little more change. Right now, we're running to the Whole Food market. Yeah. Whole Foods is going to start scheming on you just like everybody else. They're going to be out there to make a buck. Right? So we got to find a way, maybe spend a little more money, do something else. But guess what? If you got to spend a little more money, you got to be able to do what? Make a little more money. Make a little more money, right? If you got to live a lifestyle, you got to be able to afford that lifestyle. You got to make it so you can afford that lifestyle, right? Now, that means you got to work at it. Teach your children, look, son, look, daughter. Like my daughter said, ain't no question about me going to college. I'm not even questioning that. Right? Now, some people may say, no, that is right. That's right, baby. That's the attitude you have. Because guess what? You are a daughter of Elohim. You got to live your life a certain way. You got to do what you need to do. Maybe you don't want to be a vegetarian. Because I sure don't. Not at this point in my life. So I like meat, right? In order for me to do that, I might have to go out and spend a little more money so I know from whence it comes. Right? So I don't eat the poison. Right? So I got to work at that. My children got to work at that too. You got to put yourself in that type of position. So is it possible to live by the laws of God in America? Sure it is. Is it possible to be prosperous in America? Sure it is. Because God holds everything in his hand. Whatever you desire, he's going to give it to you. If you do right by him. If you do right by him, he'll give you your heart's desire. So let us remember, and you shall be holy, in verse 26, unto who?
Yah.
Unto Yah, our Elohim. It's not about you being holy to you or to me. It's about you being holy for the purpose of being holy to the Creator. Because you're dedicated to him. You owe him the allegiance. I ain't do nothing for you. I didn't give you a job. I don't make sure your refrigerator has food in it. I don't make sure that you're not bothered throughout the streets when you go back and forth. Your allegiance is to him. He says, you shall be holy unto me, for I, God, am holy, and have set you apart from the people, that you should be whose? His. We belong to God. We're his creation. We are his treasure. We are his property. So you know when people say property of the correctional facility of Illinois, I'm going to get some shirts. That's the shirt. I am the property of God. I'm God's property. That's a bumper sticker. That's a bumper sticker. We are his property.
Yes, we are.
We belong to him and no one else. So our allegiance has to be to him. Everything that he asks us to do, we should make it our business to make sure it happens. Right? We done got some shirt ideas, some bumper sticker ideas. We're on our way. We're on our way. Not about making a dollar, it's about causing righteousness to be built up within us. Torah teaches about the man, the Zadik, he who is righteous and walks in the way. That's what we all want to be. Righteous men and righteous women walking before the Creator. And guess what? The world knows that too. You ever notice how different people treat you? I work in a little office, but they always come to me when they want to talk about religion, history. Shalem, what do you think about this? What do you think about the riots in Baltimore? You think that's God? Now, why are you asking me? Because they see God in me. And they respect my opinion. And that's how it should be with each and every one of us. They should come to Elder Yosef. Everywhere he goes, Elder Yosef, what do you think about so-and-so? And I'm sure he gets questioned all the time in his travels. We should all be questioned by people. Well, even if it just starts out, oh, sister, your hair is beautiful. You wear the head wrap. Oh, man, you look beautiful. What belief are you? That's how it starts. People get to know you. They respect your opinion. They want to know, what can we do? Now, if you ask me, what can we do as a black people to change our way? Now, I can go political, right? I can start off with political if that's how I choose to do it. But the first thing I say, you must all bend the knee in service to the Almighty, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. From thence, our lives will change. Because that, I can tell you politically how to do a lot of things. But the source of it all is to serve God, the true and living. Then your life will change. The life will not only change for you, it'll change for the whole world. Because remember, they're God's children too. Except their blindness is still upon them. Then we read today, put not a stumbling block in the path of thee who is blind. Don't put it there, but if you can take it away, take it away. Help the blind. The last portion of this verse says, a man also or a woman that divineth by a ghost or a familiar spirit shall surely be put to death. Now it's funny that we're closing out the end and it's doing an exhortation, right? He says in verse 26, be ye holy unto me, for I, your Elohim, am holy, and have set you apart from the peoples that you should be mine. Now you would think, like, if you're giving a speech, right? That's the end of the speech. People are cheering. You know, you're left with a powerful ending, right? But no. He says, a man also or a woman that divided by a ghost or a familiar spirit shall surely be put to death. They shall be stoned with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. And why? Because unfortunately for our people, we have a mindset that it's hard to lead them on an up. You have to lead them always with a warning. Because we walk out the door and forget quickly. We walk out the door and forget everything that was said. Why talk about the last thing about familiar spirits and diviners? Because when we're in trouble, we seek all kinds of answers. It's just our nature. We seek all kinds of answers. We'll start talking to fruit, vegetables. Let me hit the herb book and see what the herb book says. We'll start looking for number books and see if we can hit numbers. We get desperate, don't we? I had a dream. Let me go look at the numbers book. Can you give me Sister so-and-so number? Because I need her to tell me what this means. I need to go talk to my grandma. She's the only person that can help me now. I'm just in that kind of state. We're desperate, and we are so in a bad state that we let ourselves be caught up in anything to save what we feel is our souls. So Moses, through the hands, mouth of the Creator, leads off with a warning. No matter how bad things are, do not go and seek ghosts of familiar spirits for your answers. Don't go out there necromancing. and looking for diviners to answer your questions. If you want to get back on the right track, it starts by opening your mouth and your mind and proclaiming that Yah is one and that He is your Savior by Himself. That proclamation alone lets the Creator know that you realize that He is your only salvation. And when He knows that you realize that, the blindness begins to leave you and sight begins to enter. All of a sudden, the scales, like the elder said, falls off the eyes, and you begin to see. You begin to see things more clearly. Your life starts taking a turn for the better. Now you just have to keep it up. See, we get to it, and you know, like people with credit. Your credit's good, you buy a house, right? Now, you know once you buy a house, but now you never did it. As soon as you sign your name, anybody will sign you for any kind of car you want. You can go get a Cadillac, Lexus, Porsche, whatever you want, right? But do it quickly before all the information goes out. But we forget because we go out there and start signing our name for everything and start living beyond our means. When them notes start coming in, I can't afford that. I'm not turning this car. Oh, I ordered that too? Ordered that too? I got all these credit cards? Before we let our lives go out of whack, acknowledge the Creator. If your life is out of sorts, He can bring it back into the way it's supposed to be. I promise you. I've seen destitute families rise up to prosperity. I've seen single people who didn't have anything now have self-worth. Anything is possible if you put it in the hands of the Creator and acknowledge His greatness. So all we have to do, just acknowledge that it is He who can do anything. If He can see anything, He can do anything. He knows the hearts and thoughts of all mankind. I hope and pray that the Creator's words will touch the hearts of each and every one of us. And this week will begin the beginning of a new chapter for us. Every day is supposed to be getting something new in your life, making yourself better. So if you haven't been wearing your fringes all day, every day, put them on. If you haven't been saying your prayers and doing what you're supposed to do, stop to do it. Because until you begin to give the Creator His due, He's going to withhold His hand from you. He said, when you do what's right, I will open up the windows of heaven unto you. How many windows are in heaven? How large is the heavens? You know what that means, people? Look at the ceiling for a second. Now, pretend this is the sky. As I'm walking, if the windows of heaven are open unto me, every move I make, He shower me with mercy. As I walk, because it's like rain coming down as I move. Now, just imagine that and how prosperous your life would be. We just have to do the right thing. May the Holy One bless us and keep us as our day has brought itself to an end. And we thank the Creator for all that He has done for us this day. And we hope and pray that He will cause us to do better as individuals and as a people as the time moves forward. We thank Him for this Shabbat and this week that we are about to enter into. And we hope and pray that it is good for us. I hope everybody has been keeping up with the counting of the Omer and acknowledging the greatness of God. Because these are commandments that we cannot let slip by. And if we are doing so, we must better ourselves. These are the small things that we start off with. You have to start with the little things to get to the greater things. So let's start off with the foundations. May the Almighty keep us, let us rise before the Holy One as we begin to close out this portion of our day. We had some, maybe my son knows where they are. They still there? Okay. There's a few of them left. So you might just have to share with your neighbor. This is the paper we keep because that way we can count the Omer together as a group before we leave. I'm so proud of my family because I'm never ashamed to say that we're just like everybody else. We're all in the same boat. And they mark the children, mark it. And they sit down and they know the Hebrew and they mark it, and they mark their count and keep up. And it's a good thing because this is, at the young age when you can follow the commandments, it's even easier at an older age because it's set in you. And we started the word lo I am because we are about to fulfill the precept. Lo, I am about to fulfill the affirmative precept of the counting of the Omer, as it is written in the law. You shall count unto you the morrow after the day of rest, from the day that you brought the Omer of the wave offering, 7 complete weeks they shall be. Unto the morrow of the 7th week shall you number 50 days. The blessing comes next. Blessed art thou, O Yahweh, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by thy commandments, and has given us command concerning the counting of the Omer. And we turn the page to the day that we are counting for. As we know, as the sun is going down, we count for the following day. So everyone should be abreast as the day. I'm scared to ask you what day it is. Huh? Thank you. The 20 what? That's the daughters of Israel. Hallelujah. This is the 29th, beginning tonight. We are closer. So we say this is the 29th day, making 4 weeks and 1 day of the Omer. We turn to page 4. In the corner top of the page is page 4. At the bottom, under the number 49. And it states, may the all-merciful restore the service of the temple to its place. May it be thy will, O Yah, our power and power of our fathers, that the temple may be fully rebuilt in our days. Grant our portion in thy law. There we will serve thee withal, as in the days of old, as in the ancient years. We beseech thee, release thy captive nation by the mighty strength of thy right hand. Accept the joyful chant of thy people. Lift us and purify us, O revered Elohim. O thou mighty one, God is the apple of thine eye. Them that meditate upon thy deeds. Bless them, purify them, have mercy upon them. Ever vouchsafe thy righteousness unto them. O powerful and holy being, in thine abounding goodness, lead thy congregation. Turn thou who art the holy and exalted Elohim unto thy people, who are mindful of thy holiness. Accept our prayer, hearken unto our cry. Thou who knowest all secrets. Blessed be his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever and ever. We say hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
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 We say our final prayer, asking the Creator to guard us as we leave this place and go to our separate homes. Hallelujah.
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 O most powerful and holy God, Elohim is thy name.
Praise be your name.
We give thanks unto you, O Heavenly Father, for the Shabbat day that is now come and gone. We thank you for the first day of the week, which thou hast allowed us to witness, to be alive, to see, come into existence. We thank you, O Heavenly Father, for the knowledge of the Omer. We ask that thou will be merciful unto us, even as we have even acknowledged thee in counting thereof. Guard us as we leave from this place. Shield and protect us as we move along the highways and the byways. Let us reach our homes safely, that we may walk therein. That we may find them in peace as they were when we left. Have mercy upon us, O Heavenly Father, as we go out into the week, into our working world, moving to and fro in the earth. Cause everyone that we come in contact with, that we may find favor in their sight. Almighty, we ask that thou will cause our hands to be prosperous in everything we put them forth to do. Save us, and we shall be saved.
Yes.
Heal us, O Heavenly Father, and we shall be healed.
Yes.
Guard us, and we shall be guarded. Continue to show mercy unto thy people for thy great name's sake. Blessed be thy high, lofty, and exalted name.
Yes.
As we, thy people, acknowledge thy greatness by saying, Hallelujah!
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 Amen. O Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Elohim, we look unto Yah our King and ask of him a blessing, hoping and praying that the words which are uttered from my lips will find their ways upon the four wings of the wind, and the Holy One of Israel will bless us for his great name's sake. We hope and pray that we have said today nothing that will cause him to withhold the mercy from his people wheresoever we may be found in the earth. Yivareka Adonai v'yishmarecha. Ya'ir Adonai Panai Elecha Vikuneka. Yisa Adonai Panai Elecha v'yasim lecha. Shalom. May Yah bless you and keep you.
May it be thy will.
May Yah make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
May it be thy will.
May Yah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
May it be thy will.
Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable before thee, O Yah, my rock and my redeemer. We call Yisrael your Hallelujah.
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 If you be seated for just a minute, it's really going to be quick this evening. Matter of fact, while we're doing this,